So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the.
All right, gang, good evening. Happy Thursday. How are y'all doing? I got about an hour to spend with you or so. Let's see who is still up. Night Owls, Punching Nuts, what's up? James, how you doing? Let me turn on a few settings here. Juicy, what is going on? Let's see. Breaking news. The Bed Bath & Beyond auction for tomorrow for Buyback Baby is canceled because they got no bidders, no higher bidders than the very low bid that they already had. I think it was like $15 million or so. Now, if I'm interpreting that correctly, guys, unfortunately, that means that the people holding BBBY could be completely wiped out. We'll find out more details tomorrow. I'm not going to rush a video out on it. Just not following it that close, but I know how much debt the company had, and I know a lot of people were praying for somebody to come in and offer $1 billion for Buyback Baby, and they got a $15 million bid. That was the last piece of the auction, and no bidders, so they canceled. They had the stalking horse bidder, but no new bidders came in, so they just like, well, forget this. And the other thing that maybe some of y'all want to talk about is the MULN share buyback. So those are kind of the two things that I have, and then whatever other questions or trivia or fitness talk, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm just here to smoke a cigar, have a beer, and hang the fuck out. Anya, what's going on? Vic, what's up? Carlos, good evening. C-Win, what's up? You know, since I've been doing now keto, you know, I switch back and forth between keto and carnivore for the last 5 weeks. Staying up late and getting up early has become less and less of a problem, and I don't even need caffeine when I wake up. Usually when I wake up, whether it's 4, 5, 6, 8 in the morning, just whenever I wake up, the first thing I got to do is cram a bunch of caffeine, and I have not had to do that. That is one of the benefits of being on a ketogenic diet. Carnivore being ketogenic also. More energy, more mental alertness. And now after 5 weeks, definitely seeing it. Super Steven, what's up? Juicy says the MULN 5 looks like a Porsche SUV with the MULN logo on it. I wonder if we will ever get to see that vehicle in production, Juicy. What do you think? They pushed it off to, I think, 2027 now. They had obviously the model that they were driving around to the driving events some months ago. I forget what months, how many months ago that was. But they decided to go all in on vans and trucks for the time being and push that pesky little MULN 5 off. Fly Free, what's up? Kershaw, good morning. Had some leftover Miller Lite from the barbecue this weekend, so I'll be working on that for the next couple nights. Let's talk. Look, is anybody on my channel watching tonight or on replay? Or any of y'all in Bed Bath & Beyond? Or any of y'all holding MULN? Do y'all even care to talk about that, or you want to talk about some other shit? Not any new AMC lawsuit stuff going on to speak of. Jerry, Grandpa, that's Grandpa Barney. Journeyman lineman. No Bud Light. Yeah, fuck Bud Light. Sorry. If I'm drinking, it's either going to be, if I'm drinking beer, it's either going to be something with flavor, or if I'm drinking a light beer, it's always been Miller Lite. I've told you guys that story. My uncle was a Miller Lite distributor. PWM, the IPO, Steven. Yeah, let's talk about that. That was one of Teddy Zane's picks. We were watching that one today. Let me pull up the chart here. PWM, $5 IPO. Teddy guaranteed it was going to double, and then it kind of struggled all day. But don't count it out too soon. What happened in after hours? Let's pull up the chart. Here is the chart of what happened during the day. It launched at 5, ran up to 6, and then just kind of loitered. And then what happened in after hours? Let's see, viewer count, event list, sound alerts. Then we scroll over to after hours. Something happened. Oh my freaking god. Look at this monster, $13. Who the heck is buying this shit in after hours? Another Hong Kong IPO market fuckery. Unbelievable. Teddy, you sold too soon, Teddy, but I don't blame you based on the price action during the day. If you got out between 5 and 6, that was a damn good trade, you know, for IPO. But who could have thought that it was gonna more than double after hours? I sure wouldn't have. We see it on occasion, we do, but not lately. Let's put up the MULN chart and talk about it for a second. I might do a video on this in the morning. Not making any friends with my MULN coverage. I know it's not intentional. I'm just trying to give you my viewpoint on what I think's happening. I don't have a position in MULN right now. I don't short stocks. I don't have any puts on MULN. I was long on MULN with a small position when Mr. Harge was teasing that he had some miraculous invention, but I sold that about June 6th, I think, or June 8th, when Mr. Harge looked like he wasn't really in charge anymore, and I started losing faith. So I have not been participating in the rundown in MULN to 10 cents, fortunately. But then we had, what do we have? Oh, yeah, some time ago they said that they were going to hire Share Intel, and then they followed up with the often and what we see, the second announcement that that they hired Wes Christian's firm. And so we got 2 days of news, but we also had a prospectus a week or so ago about 2.3 billion shares that had, you know, whatever number you want to say, 600 million, 800 million, 2 billion. It's a lot more than the current float of 200 million. And let me go up here to the one chart. I think that these press releases yesterday and today were absolutely timed to help the big money lenders do what we call exit liquidity. They had just spent $100 million a week ago buying MULN stock for 10 fucking cents. these big money lenders. They gave MULN $100 million. MULN gave them the common stock and the warrants. What do you think they're going to do with those at 10 cents? Do they want to hold them? Maybe. I mean, some people would say, yeah, of course they want to hold them. MULN's going to the moon. No, they want to turn around and make money on their investment. So they coordinate, allegedly, in my cynical mind, a couple of juicy press releases to bump the stock up and then unload billions, a couple billion shares, and exercise the warrants onto retail, who is convincing themselves that the shorts are covering. This is it. Again, please go watch my video from April on the CEO handbook. I told you back in April, this is part of the fucking playbook. It's so damn predictable. How do I know that? Because I see it time after time. I called out this exact scenario in chapter 3 back in April. And so it was not surprising to me to see the press releases, the little run up just over the warrant exercise price. And then my expectation is that it's going to get drummed back down now over the next coming days and weeks. Now, yeah, I could be wrong. I could be. This could be the one time that something happens and it scooches on up to $1. But I don't think so. And that's not me hating MULN. I'm just trying to read the play based on what I've seen so many times before, when I know that they got shares and warrants that they want to unload. And all the YouTubers fall right in line. Here comes the squeeze. We're up 100% from 10 cents to 20 cents. Oh, man, I hate to see that. Billions of shares traded yesterday and today. That even more lines up with my theory about the 2 billion shares they needed to unload. They had all the volume they needed in the last 2 trading days to dump 2 billion shares onto retail. Once that dumping's done, then what are they going to do? They're going to start shorting it again. They let it run up so they could make money, hand the shares over to you, and what's going to come next? My best guess, the short hammer. And then on the next MULN filing, you're going to find out that the float is another mind-blowing number. Probably went from 200 million to 2 billion shares. Again, they want to get all that done before the reverse split, which will be voted on August 3rd. And then it's going to be a 1-for-100 reverse split. I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to get that through. Like, who's going to hold the majority of the shares? But I feel like they're going to maybe ask the big money lenders to hold enough shares to sway the vote. Seen that playbook anywhere before? Chico, what's up? Thank you. He says, just watched the AMC earnings video. Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I just dropped my video for my estimate on Q2 earnings for AMC. Like I said at the end of that video, I'm a little nervous because I'm, last quarter when I ran my model, it came in almost exactly as far as earnings per share estimate. It came in really close to what the analysts were predicting. I have a way different number for Q2. So yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous that I could be wrong. I hate being wrong. So now I got to sweat it out for a month and we'll find out. Ted says, losing a lot of faith in AMC, feeling drained. Any chance that we'll get back to 10 this year? I think the next best catalyst, Ted, is the Q2 earnings. If I'm right, and it is a positive earnings for AMC, that could be some upward momentum. Could it go to $10? I don't know. I can't tell you that. I try not to do price targets a right now, especially, Ted, we don't know the date of when the judge is going to hand down her approval of the settlement versus the earnings. So which one comes first? A lot of us are kind of expecting the settlement to be approved next week. I'm saying if we did a betting pool, my date would be the 14th. But I think realistically between the 14th and the 31st is a pretty good window. And then we get the reverse split and the conversion, and then we get Q2 earnings. So, man, it's going to be a lot of volatility depending on the dates. And shorts are trying to position AMC. They're trying to short it right now, planning on the arbitrage, planning on the settlement being passed, knowing that if it's passed, AMC will be pushed down a little bit and APE will go up a little bit. So, man, if we catch them off guard with the Q2 earnings and they're still short and the cost of borrow is still high, then it could be spicy. Could be. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Juicy says, I told you that they were going to sell them to get the run up to get rid of those warrants. I don't know if maybe you did tell me that, Juicy, but we've known that playbook, the one that MULN is running, for a long time. See it over and over. And so I saw a lot of confusion on YouTube and Twitter about what exactly happened. Let's pull up the press release. MULN announces $25 million stock back. I heard some people saying 25 million shares. No, you got to read English. $25 million. And a lot of people thought that they bought all of them back today because why? Because there was a headline. You got to actually read the company press release. This is a stock buyback program which the company may until December 31st, 2023, purchase up to 25 million in shares from time to time in open market or private contracts. And they follow up by saying the authorization of this program does not obligate the company to purchase any shares. That's important. It is boilerplate language, right? But this is their out. Like, there's no guarantee that they're even going to buy them. The fact that they did the headline, they got 2 outs. They're telling you in black and white, does not obligate them to purchase any shares at all. And they may terminate, or the program may be terminated or amended by the board at any time prior to December 31st. So let's just rein in the hopium just a little bit and deal in the world of reality. Why did the stock go up? Hopium, FOMO, bad DD, people miscommunicating shit. Why did it come back down? Reality setting in as people bothered to take the time to understand what was going on, plus people shorting it as it ran up, for sure. So do I think that MULN bought back any stock today? Absolutely not. I mean, they just fucking sold it for 10 cents. 15 cents maybe, end of June. Why are they going to buy it back at 20 or 30? That makes no sense. They will wait until later this year after the reverse split for opportune time. I mean, I guess buying it at 10 cents might be okay, but I've seen this announcement many, many times from other companies and they never buy the stock back. It's just a fucking puff piece. And I want retail traders to be smarter than to fall for this bullshit, and especially fall for the bullshit that the YouTubers who can't even get it right between 25 million shares and $25 million. You know how much would at $25 million divided by 10 cents? Well, That would buy back the entire float. $25 million divided by 10 cents. That would buy back the entire float. Do you honestly think that MULN is going to buy back the entire float today? Now, in reality, the float is not 243 million. The float is, even though Webull shows that and Ortex shows it, the float is like around 800 million, and now after the last 2 days, probably close to 2 billion. So in that scheme of things, you know, buying back 250 million shares at 10 cents isn't going to do much. Oh, Juicy said, I only know that because you said it. Cheers, man. Gus says, do I think Antara will hold ape until the verdict? I think they're trying to get out of all of their ape before the verdict, Gus. That is what I think. I mean, we've been tracking their sales for many, many weeks, and there's almost daily selling going on of ape. And I told you they'd be under 10% before the conversion date. Well, they went under 10% last week. So we're not going to get any more updates. They don't have to file the Form 4s anymore. They had 93 million shares left on the last filing. Figure they're selling 3 to 4 million a day. That takes them until close to the end of this month, say the 20th or 25th, to get out from under 93 million shares. So, yeah, I mean, it depends on when the judge gives her decision. If she gives it on the 14th, I don't think they'll be out. And I want you to be thinking about that. That's a great question, because we got to worry if Antara holds too much after the conversion and then they decide to dump it, that is going to be a negative price impact. And I would prefer, even though they are pinning the price at $1.80 right now with all these selling, I'd prefer they get it out of the way and let the conversion just happen in real life without worrying about what Antara is going to do. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they'll be out. Depends on when the judge gives her verdict. Jersey Recycler says, was amazed at the 2 consecutive days of 1.5 billion plus shares. It is amazing. Like the quantity of trades on MULN just blew my damn mind. But it is so cheap, and people are so desperate for a lifeline to cling to. And then all the pumpers pump up like they always did with Genius and Created and all of these. Look at all these stocks. Same thing that happened with these other stocks. When Share Intel news came out. GTII, let's see, right here. Look at the run up, and now it's come all the way back down. GNS, they did not get a run up until a couple months later. So they did not get a run up from West Christian. Who else did? CRTD did. No, they did not either. But look at after what happens, you know, they do the West Christian Share Intel announcement. Just look at how awful these stocks have performed. Is it because West Christian's the kiss of death? No. It's because their fundamentals suck, their balance sheet sucks, their income statement sucks, and they are being shorted into oblivion because they are trash penny stocks. And the West Christian Share Intel thing, while they are being shorted, I don't doubt it, and there's probably some malfeasance going on, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to happen fast enough to help these companies out. If he even does anything, it's going to be a year probably. Here is Micro Mobility, also known as Hellbiz. it went down after hiring West Christian. Who else? CEI. It's trading at 60 cents. Good Lord. Blue Star Foods was another one. It just continued to go down. All of everything in this watch list here it's 30 companies that hired Share Intel, and most of them West Christian also. MMAT just hired them. Share Intel. You got to fix the fundamentals. Like reaching out to West Christian when you're bleeding money and have no income and have convertible debt and all the problem. You know what else? If we looked up most of these companies, you know what they did right after they hired West Christian? They diluted their shareholders, double the float, triple the float. That's why it's going down. So in the case of MULN, 10x the float. 10x the float. On no revenue. So I don't know. We'll watch and see what happens with MULN tomorrow. If you're in it, I wish you a lot of luck. I had a lot of people message me and say they sold at 32 cents, and thank you. Hey, if you listened and got out, if you were in at 10 cents and out at 30, God bless you. That was a great trade. Not bad for 2 days work, right? Darthman says, CEI was a bad investment. It was a lesson learned. Amen. I've never been a fan of CEI other than a momentum trade. I've said that for 2 years. And I'm going to repeat this recurring theme because I want you guys to hear this. If you're here, I want it to sink in. And if you're new, I want you to hear it for the first time. I want you to be looking for the bulk of your portfolio. I want you to open up the latest earnings statement, or go to stockanalysis.com and look at the earnings on the income statement. And I want you to see, is the company you're buying, if you're planning on holding it for more than a week, right? If you're planning on holding it for months or years, do they have a history of making money, positive earnings, or a history of negative earnings? If it is nothing but negative earnings, you are buying a dog, and that's okay, as long as you admit that to yourself and set your trading plan accordingly, and then tune out all the bullshit YouTube nonsense of people telling you that these penny stocks are going to the moon because of this, that, or the other reason. If they do run up and you get lucky, beautiful. But if they start going against you, don't feel bad selling them, because you're mostly being fed some pump bullshit from people who bought in higher than you. And that's what's going on with MULN, unfortunately, right now. Penny stocks can be fun for day trades, 2-day trades, maybe a week, but you got to pull the trigger if they go against you. Get out. Powerhouse, what's up? He says, can you go over what I think will happen if the reverse split happens and if it doesn't, both outcomes? Yeah. So let's just rephrase that. What will happen if the judge approves or does not approve the settlement, right? If she approves the settlement, then the reverse split and the conversion will happen in relatively short order. Although there are people that are saying that they're going to appeal the decision, but it's my understanding, and again, I'm not an attorney, it's my understanding that only people that were parties in the lawsuit can appeal it. So I don't know how an objector can appeal to an appellate court a case that they weren't a party to, but I could be wrong. Then if that happens, the reverse split and the conversion happens, then I expect, overnight, whenever they whenever they push that paperwork through, you'll see the two prices converge. APE go up, AMC go down. They'll meet somewhere in the middle. Trading will start, and then I don't know. Right? Because what's the timing on that relative to Q2 earnings? What's the Q2 earnings going to be? What are shorts going to do? Did anything fundamentally change? Too hard for anybody to call. I know everybody's got an opinion. Some are saying it will be the catalyst to short a squeeze, to start a squeeze, and others are saying it's going to be shorted down to $1. I just don't know about either one of those scenarios. Play it by ear, but I'm not worried about the reverse split and the conversion as much as I am about a dilution announcement. That's what I've been telling y'all. So when you see that, then I think that there could be some negative price action when he announces we're going to sell 100 million shares or 200 million or 400 million. Who knows how many he's going to sell. When he announces that, you could see some pretty swift temporary price reduction. And then eventually when that selling of shares is done and they say, hey, we're done. We booked $2 billion, $4 billion, whatever the number is, $1 billion. Then the market can kind of say, okay, the dilution's done and they fucking fixed the balance sheet. They got cash on the balance sheet now. So then you can maybe get over that dilution flu. So I know that's not a great answer, but I'm not making any sweeping predictions. I certainly don't think, based on market cap, that it's going to get pushed down to $1. And I don't see anything in a reverse split and a conversion that's going to kick off a short squeeze either. So I'm just along for the ride. If the judge does not approve the settlement, then my understanding is she asks the two parties to do a better settlement. And then they come back with something and she approves that. I guess a third, less likely outcome, I don't even give it a 1% chance, is she says that something was completely illegal. In which case, APE will go to 0 and AMC will go up. But we heard a lot of testimony in the hearing. We've seen all the briefs. Other than a few of the objectors, I think everybody's on the same page, including the special master, including both the plaintiff and the defendant, that nothing illegal was done in the creation of APE. Was it a little slimy that they took whatever action they needed to ensure that they had access to capital? Yeah, I mean, I think we could all argue that. They used those preferred shares. They sold them to Antara. They put money in the bank, which was good, but they also asked Antara to hold the shares till the vote so that they could approve the reverse split and the conversion. So was it slimy? Maybe so. Was it illegal? Not in my read of the law and the regulations and all of the filings. So it is what it is. We'll find out from the judge in a couple weeks. It's not worth arguing over at this point, really. So to recap, if she does not approve the settlement, she'll ask them for a better settlement. That's what I think. And then you'll still get the reverse split and the conversion. Steven says, when I make a bet with mediocre, the loser always has to buy MULN. I did my video on Q2. I'm forecasting a positive quarter for Q2. Upside, I think the high end, we could see around $90 million of profits this quarter. It might not be that high. There, I could have missed, like I said in the video, a one-time expense because you just can't forecast. those. But whether we make 10 million, 40 million, 90 million, we're not going to burn money Q2. There is a good probability AMC will burn cash in Q3 and Q4. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the movies perform, especially in Q4. And let's pray to the gods, both old and new, that Mission Impossible and Barbie and Oppenheimer outperform and give us another 2.7 billion quarter in Q3. But I don't think any of us that follow this stuff really close, well, maybe some of you, but many of us in my little circle are not forecasting 3 billion for Q3. It's probably going to be more in line with Q1. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer and Barbie, and there's a bunch of good movies, especially in July. I hope they outperform and we have a great Q3. But right now, this early, the first week in July, I think it's going to be more like Q1. We'll see. I'll update you monthly. Let's see. Gus says AMC reached around 27 a share last year before the ape announcement. So after the split and conversion, 52-week high would be 260 a share instead of 26. I mean, Gus, with the reduction in the float, 26 is the exact same as 260 after a reverse split. As long as the float is not increased, it takes the exact same amount of money to move the price from 4 to 26 as 40 to 260. You can do the math. You got to reduce the float, use your pencil. It's the same amount of money to move the price. So if you're asking me, I'll ask you, do you think it could go from 4 to 26 easily? If you do, and the float is reduced by a factor of 10, it should be just as easy to move from 40 to 260. The question is, why would it go to 26? Why would it go to 260? You're going to need what's the word? A unicorn, a catalyst to kick that off. I mean, the company still is losing money for the year. The balance sheet is pretty bad right now. Only 500 million left in cash, 495 million. And if we lose money in the next 2 quarters, that's going to get drawn down even more. So I don't know. I don't think that the shorts are going to give up, is what I'm saying. And until Adam Aaron says, "Ha ha, suckers, we got 2 billion of cash on the balance sheet again. Eat crow." That is a eat crow moment when you get 2 more years of life. But that, in order for that to happen, Gus, he has to dilute to get that cash on the balance sheet. And that, increasing the float, will make $260 more difficult, because you reduce the float with the RRS, but then you sell shares, new shares into the market. Now you maybe doubled the float. That makes 260 more difficult. David asking, where can I see that AMC has 31%? Are you talking about 31% of the domestic box office? Is that what you're asking, David? If it is, I'll answer your question. If it's not, then I need to understand your question. Steven says, I'll be at Tony's backyard barbecue tomorrow if we hit 260. What are your odds on 260, Steven? You're the odds man. Chico says, go see Joyride and Sound of Freedom. Yeah, I think let's see. I don't think we have any plans this weekend. I'm not going to go see Joyride by myself, but If my wife wants to go see it this weekend, I'll watch it with her. We've already got plans for Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer. That's all I have booked, but there's a bunch of good movies in July. I'm going to see all of them. What else we got? Is Nun 2 in July, or is that later? We got the other horror movie that's out right now. Steven, did you go see that one yet? Okay, David Cito. To get the 31%, what I do is I take the domestic box office number. So, what was it last quarter? Stand by. I take this number right here, 1.722. That was all of the tickets sold in the US and Canada in Q1. And then you look at what did AMC book in admissions? 534 million. That is 31% of the total domestic box office. Same here, 561 million. In Q4 was 31.6% of 1.7 billion, and so on. Back in 2019, we were only pulling 28%. In 2022, we were only pulling 28%. So maybe the problems that Regal and Cineworld have been having with their bankruptcy have been helping us. Maybe the apes are supporting AMC. I don't know. But we've had 2 quarters in a row where it's been 31%. And if we can pull that off in Q2, that is a huge, huge win for AMC in terms of money coming in on admissions and then all of the food and beverage sales that come with all of those extra patrons. Luke says, what price will AMC be at post-reverse split? I have a spreadsheet for that. Luke, let me pull it up. So right now, taking today's closing price of $4.29 and $1.78, $26.38. But then we have to factor in, and I still haven't updated this. I'll do that tomorrow or this weekend, excuse me. I need to factor in the share award from the settlement. So 1 for 7.5 is going to increase the shares outstanding of AMC. That's going to drop this by $1 and a dime. So let's just say 25.25 is what I'm expecting that it will start trading at, and then wherever it goes from there, the market will decide. How do I get that number? Shares outstanding, market cap, and current prices. You have to factor in the larger float of ape is going to bring the price down compared to what AMC is right now when they combine. All right, Steven says for 210, he'd set the line at 12-1 odds. For 140, he'd set it at 8-1. $70, 4-1, $30 even money. All right, there you go. Steven is our bookie. And Steven, well, I'm not going to ask. I was going to say, how often do 12-to-1 odds plays pay out? I have talked about MULN tip. What questions do you have? I'm happy to go over it again. David says, pero la acción de regalo por cada 65 acciones ya es una certeza. Is that, are you asking, is it a certainty? I forget what certeza is. If the judge approves the settlement as written, it is a certainty. Oh, a fact. Okay. In my opinion, David, about 99% certain that the judge is going to approve the settlement as is. I'm going to keep saying that. And boy, oh boy, the haters are going to come after me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty, I read all the filings. I read all the briefs. I read the special master's report. I feel pretty confident that that is going to be the outcome. Whether people like it or not is a whole nother matter. I'm just trying to give you an unbiased read on what I think is going to happen. Chico says he meant una cerveza. That's where I got confused. Steven says, thank you. 12-to-1 odds implies your selection has a 7.69% chance of winning and 92% chance it will lose. That's what I was looking for, Steven. Headstock Harem says, how come there were 1 billion ape? I thought it was 1 for 1. Okay, so remember Adam Aaron had 50 million preferred shares, the blank check preferred stock. He took 10 million of those and activated them. A lot of people still think, for whatever reason, there are 5 billion apes out there. No, he only activated 10 million preferred shares. So you can go to the Delaware Secretary of State and find the form. 10 million shares were activated and created 1 billion apes, because every one preferred was 100 ape. So 10 million gets you a billion. Then he gave us, distributed to us in the form of a split, essentially, the ape shares. So there went 516 million. He was left with just shy of 500 million, and he sold those into the market and to Antara, both. And at this point, almost all of the ape have been sold. There's a little bit held back that were for awards and other things, executive awards. But for all intents and purposes, a billion ape have been rode through. Now, when the conversion happens, all of those ape will become, each one of them will become 1 AMC. So you have around 500,000 AMC, you've got around a billion ape. Combine them, you got 1.5 billion. Do the reverse split, you're going to have roughly a float of around 150 million shares. Tip Kim, did you have a question about MULN? MULN. G Immortal, what's up, amigo? We talked about the stock buyback on MULN, why I don't think that they're going to do it. I think the announcement was a I don't want to, it's not a fake press release. It was a pump and dump press release. A lot of people thought that that meant that they were buying $25 million worth of stock today. No. They have clearly here in the press release said that they reserve the right to hold this program open until the end of December, and that they're under no obligation to buy shares, and that they can terminate the program without any notice. So the intent in my mind was to drive the price up so that the big money lenders that just bought all those common and warrants could dump it onto retail who thought the shorts were covering. Yeah, I think that they let it run up, and all of that billions of volume in the past 2 days was that prospectus from last week being dumped on you. Now, I could be wrong. I don't have evidence of that yet. I just have seen this playbook too many times, and we won't know until the next filing where MULN is required to disclose the current float. And then we'll see. And if I'm wrong, I'll take all the arrows. It's not a problem. Headstock says the last MULN split got me stuck. Wait till the next one, Headstock. 1 for 100. It's going to be a combined, if you take the 1 for 25 and the 1 for 100, that's 1 for 250 is the end result of those two back-to-back reverse splits. God damn. I was trying to think of, Steven was asking me the other day, have you ever seen anything worse than 1 for 250? Nothing comes to mind. I'm sure I've come across them, but they're always obscure little penny stocks, not anything that we would know. Jeffrey, what's up, amigo? Steven says, is it mean to say 100 to 1 odds for the no vote to succeed? No, I mean, that's what I'm saying, Steven. I mean, the no vote, we're not even discussing the vote anymore, right? We're just discussing approve the settlement or not approve the settlement. The vote is not even in question. I know what you mean, the no voters. Hey, I heard Pantheon went live last night asking for everybody to please just get along. Did anybody watch Pantheon? I know a lot of people miss him. Shout out to Pantheon if you're listening in or check in on a replay. Haven't talked to that dude in many, many moons. But yeah, it would be nice if everybody could get along, but it's become so damn emotional. Like I've complained to you guys about this, and you know, kind of tongue-in-cheek complaining. All I'm doing is reading filings and telling you what I think is going to happen, and the amount of hate and conspiracy shit. You know, that Adam Aaron's paying me, and I'm a hedge fund plant. I'm short on the stock. You know, just all this ridiculous false stuff, because people, you know, this fringe element of these people, which tend to have a pretty loud voice, they're very much in the world of conspiracy theory, everything in their life, but they're also very emotional about stuff, and those two things combined, not a great combo. And so I think they have created a lot of division. We can't even have an honest discussion about different talking points without these crazy people attacking you relentlessly. Like, why can't we talk? Why can't we share different points of view without insulting and demeaning and accusing people of crazy stuff. I don't get it. So Pantheon, I approve of your message. You know, I'd love to see everybody get along, even if you have a different opinion. I know that Pantheon has a different opinion than me on the vote, and he and I are still able to talk and have discussions. VO Warrior says you're getting the Trey treatment. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they want me just to leave so that they can hoodwink people with their emotional hopium talk. But I don't go away that easy. When I'm out of the play, I'll stop talking about it less. But not the first time I've been insulted, my friends. Some little incel keyboard jockey sitting at home in his mom's basement calling me names isn't going to stop me from sharing honest DD with you guys. DD from my heart. Reading, all I'm doing is reading financial statements and filings, and they've got a big problem with that. And I think you should really question people that have a problem with someone sharing financial statements with you. All of a sudden, that's a bad thing. Helping you understand why it's bad to have $1 billion negative in working capital, why it's bad to run low on cash, and maybe give you some alternate perspective why companies are doing what they're doing. Doesn't mean that I'm making apologies for the companies or even that I always condone what they're doing. I understand the impacts of what they're doing to retail traders. I do. But are all of these people evil, or are they just doing their job to save their company? That's really the discussion. And that comes down to, are you emotional or are you logical? Honestly. Because every time I post facts, they don't have any logical response. The only response I ever get from any of these people is an insult. That really just tells me all I need to know. G Immortal says, have you seen Biogen halted today? I did not. I was not watching that one. Let me pull it up. BIIB. It opened at 284, closed at 284. Are we looking at the right thing? BIIB. Oh, let me go. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, big spike up in after hours and it dropped back down. Is it still halted or? No, it can't be halted because it. Oh, yeah, I guess it looks like it did halt in after hours, huh? 1617. Well, that'll certainly be one to keep an eye on tomorrow. What is the news? Alzheimer's drug. Well, yeah, we need an Alzheimer's drug. Clearing the way for wider insurance coverage of the drug. Okay. All right, so put BIIB on your watch list for pre-market tomorrow. I don't know if they'll turn it on for pre-market. Sith Lord says, show me a man with no enemies and I'll show you a man with no success. I like that. Headstock Hiram, going back to MULN for a second. I think that the next chance they have for a run-up will be when they announce some news about production, right? That's what I was waiting on. This West Christian and the stock buyback announcement, even though I think they were purposefully planted PR pieces. The real news is production and revenue. And I don't mean 22 vehicles, what they announced a week ago. We need to see thousands of vehicles. And when people see that, even though I think that it's still not going to be profitable, just the news that they're cranking out thousands of vehicles and people are buying them, these trucks and vans, if that happens, if they survive long enough and they really they get the parts and the people and really push those out, you got a chance for MULN to run up after the 1 for 100 reverse split. So I would wait for that. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, I'm always open to an opportunity if I see one, but I'm kind of waiting out the vote in August. All right, Luke, Stephen Sufyan, help me out here and make sure I don't misspeak. He says, if I have 1,000 AMC shares right now at $4.29, my portfolio balance is $42.90, and then the conversion reverse split, I'll have 100 shares at $26, making your portfolio balance $2,600. By my math, Luke, you are correct. Which is why a long time ago I said to buy Ape when it was cheap. Now, a lot of people are hating on Ape holders, but the only way you save your account was buy Ape cheap, because you're going to get crushed in the conversion if you're not holding Ape. People can get mad at me all they want for telling you guys why I liked Ape when it was cheap, but it is the smart play to prevent your AMC shares from getting crushed. I don't know how these people that have been pushing AMC only are going to face their audience after the conversion. The ones that have been spitting on Ape, kicking it like it's a redheaded stepchild. I'm assuming Luke has no Ape because he didn't say he has any Ape. Stephen. Oh, he says he has 1,000 Ape also. Okay. So, Luke, let's redo the math. You have 42.90 in AMC and you've got 1,700 in Ape, right? That's, let's just call it $6,000. You have a total portfolio of 6K. You'll have 200 shares. 6,000 divided by 200. You'll be okay, because your Ape is going to go up in value. All right, you guys are running out of questions. I'll give you 9 more minutes to fire away. What do I think about BBIG board members resigning? I'm not following BBIG close enough to know that that happened. "10 hours ago, BBIG board faces more shakeup." "3 directors have resigned from the board." Well, I can tell you what the general consensus in my Discord would be over something like that. Not a good sign. But I mean, BBIG's a train wreck to begin with. Always has been. That's why I don't even follow or care about BBIG. A couple of years ago, when it was having its little squeeze moments, it was interesting for a couple days, but I've always said there's no chance that I would hold this stock. The financials are absolute wreck. Always have been. Steven says, if you were forced to go into all-in-one stock, which one would it be? Oh, man, Steven. I don't know. I mean, you're going to be safe with Berkshire, Class B. You're asking would I go with Berkshire. You're going to be safe with that. I feel like... See, here's the problem. You try and get smart and pick something that's you think is going to outperform Berkshire, and then you pick something like an Apple or Tesla that doesn't have legs to last 10 years. I mean, we've all seen big companies fail after enough time goes by. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be smart enough to pick something that could outperform Berkshire and outlast it. It's a great recommendation, Stephen. What would you pick? Bizwag says, question about AMC earnings video. What is the start date and end date for earnings? Is it the same as the box office? Yes, sir. April, May, June. And then we'll get the earnings announcement first week in August. What price would AMC be if there was no ape? It'd be, I think it still would have gone down, but we wouldn't have had that evisceration that happened when we got handed ape and that split. What was that? August? I think, this downward trend that you see still would have happened on AMC. But obviously, Ape got hit a lot harder by selling, and if they would have just kept it all in AMC, the relative price would not be, and the relative market cap might not be as low. I don't know. That's like trying to unscramble the egg at this point. The point is, AMC needed cash at the end of last year. I mean, literally, if it wasn't for selling Ape, we'd be down to probably less than $50 million cash right now. And you know what that means. The big B. As unpalatable as it was that they sold Ape for whatever price. They had no AMC to sell. The debt board is loaded up with $5 billion of debt. Interest rates are going up. If they did nothing, we'd have around $50 million or less in cash, and probably filing bankruptcy right now, or in Q1 back at the beginning of the year. I get it. Nobody's happy, but the alternatives were not great. Luke says, when Admiral sells shares into the market, wouldn't that create buying pressure and raise the price post-split? I'm not going to be on board with agreeing with that, Luke. I mean, when he dumps shares into the market, that creates selling pressure. The question I would ask is there going to be buyers for those shares? The other thing that we don't know, Luke, is he going to do a private placement, or is he going to sell them into the market? We don't know how he's going to sell them. He could do both. He could do one or the other. But why do people think the price is going to drop? Because how most of us look at it is, you got the float, and now you're going to, let's say, double the float. That is a lot of selling, extra selling that needs to be absorbed by buyers. And they might not want to pay the same price as today, knowing that dilution's happening because their vote and their ownership in the company is being diluted by those new shares coming into the market. So it is rational to think that the price, when dilution is happening, will go down. Brian says, Overstock is taking the name of BBIG. Overstock took Bed Bath & Beyond, right? Didn't Overstock take Bed Bath & Beyond? Not BBIG. Bizwag asking about Cinemark filing for bankruptcy. Cinemark never filed for bankruptcy, to my knowledge. A lot of people confuse Cineworld, which did file for bankruptcy, with Cinemark. It's a common mistake. Cinemark's actually doing pretty good. If you look at their earnings and their improvement quarter over quarter, they're in pretty good shape. Cineworld, which is also Regal here in the US, filed for bankruptcy, and the common stock shareholders are getting wiped out, and the lenders will own that company. That bankruptcy's done. Let me see if I can pull up the Cineworld numbers for you real quick before we end for the night. Cinemark, the one that did not file bankruptcy. Stock analysis. Let's look at the forecast here. Analysts have it on a hold with a high forecast of 22 and a low of 11. Current is $15. Market cap is about half of AMC at $1.89 billion. Shares outstanding is way lower than AMC. That's why the price is higher. Only 121 million shares. Now, after our reverse split and conversion, we will have a similar float and a higher price relative to C and K. All right, let's look at their income statement real quick. So last quarter, they actually brought in a positive number. And 2 quarters before that, they made money. Operating income, sorry. Net income, they only lost $3 million last quarter, whereas we lost 225. So relatively compared to AMC, they are in fairly good shape. On the balance sheet, let's look. Slightly more cash than AMC, $650 million versus our $495. Current liabilities, they are in good shape here. So look at current assets for Cinemark, $826 million. That is greater than current liabilities. This is what you want. You want cash and your receivables to be higher than what you're going to need to pay in the next 12 months. And they have that, 826 versus 740. You want to know why AMC is being shorted? Let me just show you how bad it is on AMC. When I talk about fundamentals and understanding why we're in trouble, look at AMC. Current assets, $740 million. Current liabilities, $1.7 billion. That means in the next 12 months, we are negative $1 billion on having cash to pay what we owe. What does that mean? I want you really to listen to this and understand it deeply. Companies in this situation will file bankruptcy if nothing happens. In the next 12 months, you have $740 million in cash and receivables, and you have $1.7 billion in bills coming due. There is no option except bankruptcy or raising money. This is why I'm talking to you guys about why the fundamentals matter. We are in serious trouble until they raise cash. Bankruptcy is almost inevitable if nothing was done. There is nobody, no accountant, no finance person that would disagree with what I'm saying right here. Only emotional people who don't read financial statements would disagree with this. Now, moving on to their debt, they have $342 million in debt, current debt, and long-term debt, like us, they have a bunch, $3.4 billion. So we have $5 billion, they have 3.4. So they are financially stronger than AMC. Their working capital is in good shape. Ours is negative $1 billion. They had only a negative $3 million loss last quarter. We had negative $225 million. I mean, if I wasn't owning, if I wasn't a shareholder of AMC, I would say that C&K is almost a better play financially looking at them. But they don't have the backing of retail shareholders. So we'll see. They're not doing bad. It's going to be a battle over the next several years for domination between AMC and Cinemark. What happens to FTDs in a reverse split? All shorts, FTDs, everything will split the same way. the amount of shares they owe will decrease by 10, but the dollar amount that they are on the hook for goes up by 10. So nobody is off the hook, as far as I'm concerned, on anything. All right. Thank you for the extra great questions. I don't want to stay up too late because we got one more trading day in this week. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Hopefully you learned something. If not, at least maybe you had a little bit of fun. I hope I wasn't drinking alone. Put a thumbs up if you had a drink with me tonight. It's good to be able to have a beer again. Now that I got the first 10 pounds in the bag, 10 more to go. Dark Latin says, I have a Cinemark 10-minute walk from my house, but I drive 25 minutes to my AMC A-list. Yeah, I'm sure we have Cinemark around here somewhere, Dark Latin. There was a Regal close by me that I used to go to. It got shut down in the bankruptcy, but their popcorn tasted like ass anyways. I mean, it was a horrible theater. So I won't miss that one. Haven't been to a Cinemark since May of 2021. You know, we used to go to Alamo Drafthouse a lot. And just whatever was convenient and close. But I support my investment, and I appreciate those of you that do the same. Have a good night, guys. We will see you mañana. I'll be in the Discord for members of the channel, and I got some more videos coming out tomorrow. Have a good night.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control. Feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the